7 more truly disturbing, uncaught serial killers. In September 1892, Dr. Beale and 2 women were arrested for the malpractice deaths of a local woman. The man quickly paid his bail and skipped the town, leaving the women in prison. The 2 women, Nellie Haben and Hattie Graham, told police that the mysterious man had used their home as a hospital and they assisted in the births of at least 40 babies. None of the babies were to survive. The doctor would poison or drown them before burning the bodies or dumping them in San Francisco's Bay. During 1964 and 65, the bodies of at least 6 women were found dumped in the River Thames or around London. Most of the women had been brutally beaten and strangled. Several of the bodies had paint flecks on them, giving police their best evidence to find their killer. However, after narrowing the suspect pool down to only 3, there was never an arrest and the killer never struck again. Across Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Pennsylvania and Kentucky, the bodies of unidentified women have been found dumped along the major highways. All of the victims have red hair, suggesting that they may have been the victims of a single serial killer. The victims were not found until years later after their deaths, meaning that the cause of death or DNA was unable to be determined, leaving the killer uncaught. Like the mysterious Zodiac killer that was to follow, the AXEMAN of New Orleans liked to taunt police and boast of his victims and his plans to kill many more. The killer murdered at least 6 people and injured 7 more. He brutally struck his victims with an axe as they slept in their homes. In a taunting letter to police, he claimed that he would not strike in any house that played jazz. As music played, the killer remained uncaught. 40 years before the New Orleans killer preyed on his victims, another killer chose the axe as his weapon of choice. The Servant Girl Annihilator killed at least 8 victims between December 1884 and December 1885 in Austin, Texas. The killer would break into the rooms of the young servant girls and attack them with an axe. Though several victims survived, most were brutally slaughtered in their beds. At least 10 people died during 1975 at Michigan's Ann Arbor Hospital from respiratory failure. 2 nurses were arrested and tried for some of the murders and found guilty. However, the verdict was overturned on appeal. To date, no other suspect has been charged in relation to the case. Not to be confused with the serial killer Richard Ramirez, who killed during the 1980s and used the same name. The original Night Stalker terrorized the people of East Sacramento, raping at least 50 women as well as murdering around a dozen more. He would stalk his victims, selecting women who lived alone. It was because of this case that California established a DNA database. However, the Night Stalker was never caught.